What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Tommy Gobbles here, live from the Thanksgiving studios of Virtual Intelligence. And a lot of people in the building. A lot of people in the building right now. Not a lot of people on camera. Let's get that turned around here, team. Haley Joe wins the award for number one. Vonda with the silver medal. Good to see you all. Good to see you all. I definitely have my pumpkin spice, but you know what? The everything nice here is not in the pumpkin spice. It's all about you. You guys are the everything nice. The pumpkin spice, the everything nice, and the pipeline advice. It's coming in hot. You see this shirt? You see that?
Guys, I swear to God, this is the first time I've seen this. Oh my God. This is great.
I mean, this hat.
Oh my God.
I'm currently on probation for family Thanksgiving anyways. I don't think this is going to go towards my cause. So, but we'll see. All right.
Oh, shit.
Tommy Gobbles.
Tommy Gobbles.
I was trying to shop out a couple like voices for what would Tommy Gobbles be. Nothing really hit. So I'm just going with the original, you know. Like Tommy Gobbles could have been like very Italian. Ah, Tommy Gobbles, you know, it could have been Italian. I'm Italian, so I can do that. But what, you know, I figured the hat and the shirt spoke for itself, you know.
Yeah, they're still coming in, Davey. So thanks for killing time here. They're coming in. I'm letting them in.
Amen.
Yeah. Hi, Miss Vonda. How are you doing? You don't have to say hi. We can just wave at each other. We'll act like we're in a different car. Hey, how are you doing? You know, you don't have to roll the window down. Hey, David Watson, what's up, dude? Yes. Haley Joe out of the great state of Florida.
Low rider.
We have quite
shit. We got a Georgia Bulldog fan in here. Sorry, Davey. I just now realized that. I heard him barking over there.
KP.
I hacked in. We won an election and a football game, Jason. I won't say no more.
Well, I just appreciate, you know, so many people on the call right now represent our sales managers in each state. Kevin Painter being the state of Georgia, our sales manager down there. You're doing such a great job for us. Well, sure. Hey, Kevin, Kevin, we'll be reporting your numbers here in about 30 days where you're at to quota. You're doing real good, but we need a final push for the end of the year. Okay.
Oh my gosh, this is great.
I'm on it. All
right. Fantastic.
Well, hey, look, yeah, still letting them in, you know, 104. We like to be punctual here, right? So, look, there's a lot of good people on the attendee list. There's a lot of good people in the meeting right now. You know what, guys? I'm so sorry if you're intimidated to turn your camera on, you know, with what I'm wearing. You don't need to feel like you need a turkey on your shirt just to come in. We'd love to see you. We'd love to have you. That would be fantastic. Not required, but if you do not have your camera on, double challenge to you, you definitely have to chat something, okay? No camera equals increased pressure for chatting, asking questions, and engagement. Those are the rules. It is not a democracy. That's how it goes. We love you all.
And Cass is on the chat. Cass is on the chat, so put your chats in there, and I'll let Davey know.
Chatmaster Cass on the chat. All right, team. Hey, thank you so much. This is 2 of 2. For virtual intelligence, 2 of 2, but probably many more to come. We've already got some additional topics loaded up in the clip for monthly webinars. I will tell you, we knew we'd get some engagement from our first webinar. We knew we'd get some engagement from this webinar. We didn't know we'd get this much, and we love you all for playing along and paying attention. I will tell you the coolest part about this webinar specifically is the topic was selected because of what you or your peers told us to do in the first webinar. So
that's
right away, at any point in this chat, if the things that we talk about in this webinar say, hey, I want to learn more specifically about this, or hey, it's adjacent to this topic, what do you guys want? This is a crowd-driven company. This is a customer-driven company. So tell us what we need to educate you on. Anything. We've got E&O coming. We've got accounting and commissions. We got all kinds of topics but we'd rather let you as our customers, friends, family, and everybody that's a supporter tell us, hey, we really think this is a need in the marketplace. We are foolish enough to believe that we can help you. All right, pumpkin spice, pipeline advice. You came into today knowing, hey, we either like virtual intelligence, we want to make fun of Davy's outfit, or we have a virtual employee or some combination of those three things. And we're here for you. One thing I'll tell you that I will set the table with before I turn it over to one of the most talented insurance professionals with a sliver of technology in the world, Mitch Gibson, is this. Anywhere in this journey of technology, today we're going to focus on pipelines and selling and managing your pipelines. But at anywhere where you're at in the technology journey, whether it's implementation of technology, whether it is maintaining that technology, buying it, trying to decide which piece of technology or what process or workflow, it's intimidating for independent agents. Whether you've bought it and it's sitting on the shelf and you don't use it, or you have two things and they both allegedly do the same thing, we're here to help. We're here to help as a company. Yes, our primary focus is placing a high quality person in your agency, but there's just so much more we can do to help you. And that's what the call to action today is. If anything on here, regardless of where you're at in your technology journey, whether you're tech curious, you're tech overloaded, or you're an expert, we can still help. Because here's what I'd submit to you, and I'll turn it over to Mitch. Everything you do in your agency when it comes to fixing, maintaining, building out, or optimizing your technology, guess what it isn't? It doesn't require an insurance license. It doesn't sell you any more policies. It doesn't increase your revenue. Your licenses will let you do that. So let virtual intelligence take over the rest. I think sometimes people think, oh, I'll hire somebody for virtual intelligence to take care of quotes. We can help you manage your pipelines too, because it's not selling insurance. And Mitch is the foundation and the origin story for that, not only with Jason and Travis and Michael and the agencies that are the benchmarks for how this stuff works, but also the company. And so, as you know, our story is the same. Get in there, get in the chat, stop us, ask questions. Mitch is going to set a really awesome foundation to show you not only just what you should be thinking about as it relates to your pipeline and managing your business. Cass would tell you the sales pipeline software out there, AgencyZoom and alike, are some of the best pieces of technology for independent agents in the last 10 years. But I'll give you a big hint. The recent survey that we'll show on the screen here, only 20%, 20 to 25% of agents even have a CRM, even have it. And I just ask you, you don't have to put it in the chat. Hey, you know what? Put it in the chat. Of that 25%, so we're already talking about 1 in 4 agents. Now just that population. How many of them use it right?
Oh, good question.
And that's what we can fix. And that's what Mitch has the foundation. So after today, you're going to have opportunities to reach out with us. If you're a current customer, you've got a little bit more clout with us. We can actually dive in with a systems and strategies review with Mitch and I. If you're not a current customer, we'll be sending that demo link out, y'all. You know how to get to us. But Mitch, the one, the only, hailing out of Central Indiana, varsity baseball coach, technology guru, the one, the only, Mitch F. Gibson.
All I'm missing is Michael Rice to stand up and give me a round of applause like I do, because that's exactly what he does. Every time you hop on a call with Michael Rice, he stands up and gives you a round of applause. It's pretty incredible. First off, thank you, Davey, for that introduction. I guess I did. Michael is here, just got a camera off, so he's one of those people. Okay, I see how it is. Appreciate the introduction, Davey. I didn't expect for you to go that in depth about me. And yes, varsity baseball coach is one of my passions. And I highly encourage, I think a lot of you already probably know that you've got to have a passion outside of your job, or you're going to go insane with your life. Some say my passion is my job. Okay, so is it. It's for everybody's mindset. But go out and do something, find something you're passionate about, separate yourself from the business, and trust in others to delegate task, ideas, thoughts, leadership in your agencies to other people, so that you can work for your business or work on your business, not work in your business all the time. So just a thought there as you guys continue to grow as individuals. For those who don't know me, I can't see everybody in the chat, but I feel like I know just about every single person on here. But if I don't know you, please in the chat bar, just say your name, and I'd love to connect with you individually outside of here as well, one-on-one.
Yes, you know Mitch. For why, for
people.
yes, you know him, and no for you don't know him. Do that. Why for yes, you know Mitch, and no, you don't.
Something's happening here with my slide deck. Let's try this again. Is it? Can we see? There we go.
Look at all these people know him. He's famous.
Look at that. Love that. So
Thanks for chatting.
If I haven't met you, I look forward to chatting with you along the way. Please ask any questions. There's no question's a bad question. It's one of my favorite things. No question's a bad question. Just don't ask a stupid one. But I have been a licensed producer for 7 years. Started out with an agency here locally in my town of Greenfield, Indiana. We were about a $10.5 million book of business to agency, $1.2 million in revenue, and we were a agency that survived on about a 92-93% retention rate every single year. So a very, very well-known agency, an agency that's had nothing but success. But the one thing that they lacked was technology implementation, right? As they want to scale, technology implementation is one of those things that I say it like we saw on the last slide, 25% of agencies utilize a CRM system. So out of the 25%, how many of them are using it correctly is an even better question. I don't know that percentage, but I'm going to say that 75% of that 25 aren't utilizing it the correct way, right? And what's staying true to that was when I went over to Jason's agency back about a year and a half ago, and he hired me as a CTO and a producer still, I look back and I don't know how that the agency I was at is going to survive 5-10 more years in this industry. And I stand true to that. And the things that we're going to talk about today are the main reasons of why I'm doing the things that I'm doing with Jason's agency, with the Insurance Alliance, with virtual intelligence, and also building a team of individuals, virtual employees, believe it or not, that can go be effective for other insurance agencies. I've built a team of 2 or 3 individuals that are helping me create pipelines inside of our agency. Where they're getting that knowledge from, I'm teaching them everything I have within the last 7 years of my knowledge with being an independent insurance agent and still a licensed producer to this day. Teaching them that aspect of the business is the toughest part when trying to implement technology within your agency, right? So me training and having technicians inside of our agency to help fix those quick errors, to help fix those pipeline mistakes, to make sure we're always updating and keeping everything connected, that takes a full-time job. And for me, I can't do that for all 3 of our companies. So for me, hiring the help to do that, and yes, hiring virtual employees to do that is a very, very possible thing for you to do. And I think, and Jason actually talks about this a lot, the world of having a chief marketing officer, those days are, in my opinion, are no longer existent. It's time to hire a chief technology officer that can manage your technology and put you guys in the best positions to move forward. So some of those things that we are going to cover today, we'll discuss through the pipelines that we utilize inside of our agency, how we've embedded virtual employees inside of that process and inside that technology to have them take over some of the roles and tasks that our licensed staff and producers were doing. How do we do that? Utilize processes, pipeline, strong infrastructure, and implement trust within everyone in our agency. We'll go through the steps of building that CRM strategy. I'm going to give you some of my must-have pipeline stages, and then we're going to talk about how to actually maximize your efficiency in your agencies by implementing technology, virtual employees, and a smooth process. My core passion, why am I doing this, right? I love building pipelines that allow producers to produce, and guess what? Licensed agents to do licensed tasks and unlicensed tasks to be done by virtual employees. So I love strategically meeting with clients, meeting with agencies, and discussing strategically how we can implement new strategy with their virtual employees that they have gotten from us at Virtual Intelligence. And so far, it's been a phenomenal opportunity to kind of just build this little mini trainings on how I can help your guys' agencies if you're a part of the Virtual Intelligence family. If you don't already have our 57 task list, that right there, if you scan that QR code or click on that link, it'll take you to our Virtual Intelligence website where you can download the 57 tasks. Those are considered unlicensed tasks that you can have a virtual employee do or an unlicensed staff member do, which is incredible. Massive list. I think you'd be shocked by some of the things that you saw on there.
Hey, Mitch, as we transition, I want to say something real quick, and it's a little bit based on the introduction of Mitch. Mitch started with Jason in his agency, what, 6 months before I joined Virtual Intelligence, Mitch? Was that right?
Right about there.
Okay, you guys are all here as a result of VI or Jason. You guys know Jason really well, obviously. Agency Intelligence Podcast Network, a guy who's not afraid to try a piece of technology if it's going to work. Can you imagine a world when Jason is who he is, and then brings Mitch in, and still has room to get better? Right? Jason is on the cutting edge of innovation and development and trying to drive his peers, the industry, and still found efficiencies with pipelines and automations and technology from a guy who's, by the way, out producing insurance today in Mitch Gibson, and found a way to weave in technology. So there isn't anybody on this call or in the industry that couldn't benefit from leveraging some combination of a little bit of technology, a little bit of workflow, and having that done by a VE that Mitch did 6 months before I joined last November. We're a year from that. And we changed incredibly in a year. And that's what this call is about, is that there's an opportunity for everybody to improve in some way. So I would be remiss if I didn't give some context to, I know it's easy sometimes to think that like, hey, this stuff is too hard. No, there's a way to get through it. That's all.
And this, like you said, there's a ton of ways to get to them, but I think the most important piece of the puzzle, and this is the one thing that I started doing when I stepped foot in the agency back a year and a half ago at the Insurance Alliance, was I said, give me the list of all of the technology that we have. Give me a list of every subscription that we're paying for. Give me a list of every single thing that says insurance technology. Give me that list, because I want to audit what we have. And the main reason I want to audit what we have is, one, so I, on a financial standpoint, know what we're paying for, but two, to also audit it in the sense of what can we get rid of, right? Technology evolves, but you also need to evolve with the technology. Always having an annual audit to see maybe this system didn't have this specific feature last year. Now this technology does have that specific feature. For example, forms. Everybody's got online web forms, and I'll talk about how we're utilizing David Watson's product, RiskAdvisor, with their newly improved and newly announced customer-facing quote forms that we're able to use, right? Where previously we're using gravity forms on our website, right? We no longer have to use gravity forms on our website, so we can take that subscription, push it out the door. Why? Because we have a piece of technology that now does more for us. That eliminates another expense, right? So we're annually looking at that stuff very frequently to make sure that the technology we have is up to date to the best and most features that it's going to do for us. What it doesn't work, we get out the door. We get out the door and move. Before you get to purchasing technology, you're not going to be able to build any of those pipelines, those automations. Don't go purchase technology until you have your processes mapped out, right? Billy Williams talks about this all the time. If your processes aren't wrote out, right, how are you supposed to build technology, automation, and implement the technology you want to if no one knows what the agency process is? So develop what that agency process is first, right? Prioritize your business infrastructure and utilize your agency. Prioritizing business infrastructure is essential for your agency to scale over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And I stand true to that statement. Next slide, the foundation. This is truly what I consider your step one. Okay? This is what I truly consider as your step one. You need to take a very, very deep dive into what you're paying for on an internal communication standpoint, right? Microsoft, Google. We've got two separate ones. In the chat, I want you all to put whether you have Microsoft or you use Google as far as your email, data storage, internal communication, etc. Can't have both. You got to choose one. If you've got both, figure that one out first. See,
look at you people that like look at you people like Patrick McBride use a mix. Use a mix. That's fascinating. And
I want everybody also to understand what I show you today.
Diversity.
what I show you today does not mean that that exactly word from word is going to work for your agency. The one thing that stands true, McBride will probably have my back, Watson probably have my back on this. I have not one time seen one identical agency to ours. And you won't see one identical agency to yours. You'll see someone that are close, but you can't base your success off your processes and automations off of what someone else is doing. You can take those ideas, reevaluate and emphasize and change where you want to be, what you want to change, but you've got to make sure you understand just because it works for somebody else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Okay. But the truth about technology, it can fix the weaknesses in your agency, right? Technology only amplifies what exists for better or for worse. So if you have bad processes, bad infrastructure, bad internal communication systems, you're using Google Outlook or Google for G Drive, but you're using Outlook for your email. In the world of a couple of years ago, I think that was normal. It's not a good thing, right? You want to try to keep everything as internal with the same system as possible, right? So make sure you're utilizing your infrastructure or choosing what infrastructure strategy you want to use before you decide whether or not I'm going to go buy a CRM or buy AI. That stuff's got to be fixed first. Why does this process matter? Without strong processes and infrastructure, automation amplifies inefficiencies. And then key processes to map. We're going to go through new business. You need to identify how do leads get to you, right? How do they flow in? Service requests specifically. How are client needs tracked and resolved? Who's in charge of it? And for renewals, what's your timeline for proactive outreach? Right? What are your steps from proactive outreach, 45 days out, 60 days out from renewal? And what are your steps to get them through that renewal process and completed? We'll cover those. What I'm going to show you next here is the technology stack that Cass had, and I'm not even going to lie, I'm probably missing 3 or 4. This is the technology stack we had day one of me at the Insurance Alliance. Okay? And the reason I want to identify this is because this may look like a lot of you guys. This might look like a lot of you all, right? You have a different management system or who you use there, right? But I see a couple of things here. We've got Calendly, right? We've got Zoom, we've got Google Drive, and we've got Microsoft I've got a wide variety of things. My goal is to consolidate that, find vendors that actually are going to supply resources that we need so that we can have less technology vendors and more tech that does more for us, right? So I want you to see the main differences here. This is where we're at now. We've got automation. So we've got AI. So we got artificial intelligence, AI. We've got Adapt API, Gale, a company called Track.ai, and that is for recording phone calls and recording internal and external Teams meetings. So it's going to be on your calendar just like any of those little otter bots and the 19,000 of them we have in here. But this one is insurance language and insurance AI specific, right? So it's going to give us different scoring based off of our conversations. And then we're a Vertafore family, Big Orange. Love them to death. We're on AMS 360 now. We still have Glovebox, but we don't utilize it. We are using InsureLink, which is Vertafore's product. And then we've got AgencyZoom and PL Rater as well through the ecosystem for them. Data intake, RiskAdvisor, WonderWrite, Canopy Connect. We've got texting. We still have Twilio. And then we've got for video and training, we record with Loom. And then take that and upload that to our SharePoint site for training. And then our website is through Truthla. So as you can see, the big middle one here, the reason I want to bring this one to you is this right here is what probably was the biggest determining factor for us in helping our infrastructure move forward as we built in and implemented artificial intelligence. Okay, Lightspeed. With Lightspeed, we have our voice, we have our IT management, we've got our security, all of our domain management, not going to GoDaddy anymore to go get licenses for Outlook. And then we're getting everything from one provider, right? All of our Microsoft products, our cybersecurity, our productivity tools, 24-hour, email monitoring services. We've got a really, really good, strong security system to make sure that our AI and our technology is protected as we scale everything out here. So as you can see at the bottom, that's my quote. Less tech vendors, that does more for you, right? That's the thought process. How can you do that within your agency?
Yeah, let me say something here too. You guys saw it, Mitch. Can you, like at an eye doctor, can you flip it back and forth between the previous slide and this slide? Boom, and then boom again. Okay, guys, that doesn't happen overnight. That requires some intentional effort and some willingness to open your hood and go, hey, look, we're a little scrambled. We got stuff over the top of each other. We don't know what we use. Mitch was even humble enough to be like, look, we have some things even in this organized stack and segmented stack that we're not even at 100%, right? If Mitch can't get to it with his expertise, we know, and we know this from our consultations, our customers, and our demos, that sometimes somebody comes in and says, hey, I'm interested in the virtual employee thing, but hey, I got tech problems. I got tech issues. I bought everything that's been on a Jason Cast podcast he's told me to buy or an ad, and we got a lot of them, and now I have too much, right? That's part of the things that will help you do, is unscramble and organize, because unscrambling and organizing your pipeline or your tech stack is something you get when you partner with us, because we know our virtual employees can stay behind with you and keep it maintenance too. It's just an amazing evolution that I've seen from a third-party perspective, watching the tightening and the cleaning and the shaping of the tech stack, which is an ever-going process. You don't just set it and forget it. It takes regular maintenance, and watching Mitch do that with the agencies, and then as we do it with our customers at VI, it's been pretty awesome.
And realistically, what this shows you is there's 22 vendors on this one. And I think, don't quote me on this, I think there's only 11 or 12 vendors on here. These are all each individual bills. Vertifor's one bill, Lightspeed's one bill, RiskAdvisor bill, Canopy, Wonderite, Twilio, Loom, Trufla, right? So I've minimized the amount of bills that we have so that we can truly stay focused and know what we're paying for on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to go step 2, which is then now that we've got a good, strong infrastructure, right, we're going to want to analyze the new business process. Okay. I know what I'm going to talk about today may refer to a lot of personal lines focused discussion, but it still stands true in the commercial lines realm as well. Okay. And I'll discuss that along the way. But step 2 would then, now let's get into our new business strategy, right? Let's go ahead and build out that new business pipeline. But first off, we got to identify where the lead sources are coming from. How are we going to gather these leads? How are we going to gather them in? What if someone calls? How are we going to intake that client? The days of handwritten notes are gone in our agency, have been for quite a while, right? The day of duplicate entry, gone out of our agency, has been for about 8 months, right? We're saving time by doing it the right way. And in result, it's allowing us to be more efficient along the way in the process as well, right? So I want you guys to understand that adapting to something new may seem like it's going to take longer. But if you adapt to it and trust it, it will actually speed up your process more than you think. That makes sense there? So we're getting it 3 different ways primarily. One's going to be from the website directly. They go to the website, request a personal lines quote. They're going to get our embedded RiskAdvisor quote forms. Those are customer facing. Okay. That is then going to bridge it over to RiskAdvisor or to AgencyZoom for us. Okay. And then we're off to the process. So agency website's one. Customer can complete that form themselves. They can do it the OG way and have us give them a call, or they can import their insurance and give us and share their deck pages with us currently. It's a phenomenal product that we're being able to utilize at its full potential as it continues to grow. David, I know you're on here. Kudos to you. It's been working phenomenal. So tip my hat to you. The other one would be inbound phone calls. All right, we've got Sophia, our virtual employee out of Columbia, answers our phone calls. If someone is requesting to get a home and auto insurance quote, Sophia will go to our RiskAdvisor customer-facing forms, our RiskAdvisor agency form, fill it out, automation's kicked off, producers now sees it, and we're ready to quote. Centers of influence, our referral partners. I do a lot of work with mortgage and real estate referral partners. How do I keep track of them? How do I want them to review or refer business to me? Actually, the answer there is I just want them to refer the business. I don't care how they get it over. I want it, right? But if they want to smooth up their process, I create their own form, referral form, that they send those 5-6 pieces of required data I need to provide them a homeowner's insurance quote for their client. They'll fill that form out. We'll submit. And we're off to the races, just like we are any other form in this process. You noticed our 3 ways of intake. They all get themselves where? To RiskAdvisor. Got to have one single place for data intake in your agency. I'm going to break down the stages here. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on these. We will share this information in the recording after the call anyway, so if you want to go back. But I'm not going to spend minutes and hours going through what each automation is. But let's just imagine that you did take that phone, the phone call was called in today, and Sophia answers it. Sophia is going to fill out RiskAdvisor for a home and auto insurance quote. Going to ask the questions to the client for us. And once that form is complete and submitted, it is automatically dropped into our pipeline. Okay. You may say, well, where does that specifically get dropped in? Well, it depends on what way that the agent or what way the client decided to do the intake. Does that make sense? If we do a phone call intake and we complete the whole entire form, it'll go directly into the needs quoted stage. Okay. If they do it the OG way and want us to give them a call, they'll complete that 5-question, their first name, last name, email address, phone number, address. It'll send a notification to our producer in our round robin assignment group. He'll pick up the phone, call them, go into RiskAdvisor, finish the submission. Once it's hit submit, it goes directly into the needs quoted stage. Okay. If someone uploads their deck pages, shares their policy documents with us through Policy Link or through Canopy Connect, we'll have all that data. It gets dropped into the needs quoted stage, and we're off to the races there. All right. Ideally, what I want is I want my producer, if my producer has the opportunity, or if my producer answers the phone, my producer is completing that RiskAdvisor profile completely and submitting that, and you'll see why here in a second. Okay. We've got stage 1, which is a new lead. All right. A new lead could be somebody that we put in our phone manually. We talked to at an event. I saw them out and about. We were texting or whatever that may be. We just have the data. We're going to put them right here in the new lead stage. Also, if someone completes their RiskAdvisor or the customer completes their own form on our website, they get dropped in the new lead, and it starts this process of making sure that they understand we received it. We're working on it. We'll make sure that we reach out if we have anything else. That's all stage 1 is. Okay. Stage 2 is our contacted stage. Let's just say we uploaded a whole bunch of leads in here, or we've gotten their recycled leads from previous years. We're going to call them, and once we've talked to them, they will get automatically put into the contacted stage. The needs quoted stage. This is my favorite stage. I'm going to tell you that probably 85% of our leads that come through RiskAdvisor automatically go to the needs quoted stage, meaning that all the data has been compiled and received from the customer, and now we're ready to quote, meaning that here's the file. We have everything we need to go quote this home and auto insurance. Okay. Notice something here. Virtual employee is to prepare the quotes. So anytime we complete form submission inside a RiskAdvisor, automatically gets dropped in a needs quoted stage and creates a task for our virtual employee, Lordlyn, who is our quote queen.
And one thing, Mitch, just real quick on this first stage here in the quoting thing, if you remember, if you don't, is escaping the quoting nightmare, which we did last month, kind of goes through that first part really, really good. So just wanted you to know that.
Thank you. Thank you. So once it's submitted, the RiskAdvisor goes in the needs quoted stage and assigns a task to our virtual employee, Lordlyn, to go quote the new lead. Okay. Once Lordlyn gets that new lead quote or that task, Lordlyn will take the email address of that client. We'll go into Gaya. Go quote it with all of our carriers. The 3 or 4 carriers that we have that aren't inside of PL Rater. PL Rater will do its own thing while Lorland is going and using Gaya to go quote. Lorland will bring back the best 3 quotes, put them in AgencyZoom in the quote section, specifically the quote section, so we can see how much premium we have out there waiting to be bound, right? Making sure they're utilizing AgencyZoom with the exact quote amounts and who they quoted it with a file, right? And then once she is done quoting, she will then move the lead over to license agent review stage. This will then trigger a task and an email notification as well to the producer assigned to that lead to go review those quotes. Okay. Once our producers review those quotes, they will find the best one or the best 2 that they want to present. They'll put together a proposal and they will send that email out to the lead, letting them know their quotes are done, and then with a hyperlink to their booking calendar if they want to book a meeting with them. And then we're also going to follow up after that email with a phone call just to make sure that they received it. Okay. Once we have sent that and made our first initial phone call, if we called and they didn't answer, we're going to move it over to quoted waiting on decision stage. Okay. In the quoting waiting on decision stage, I love this stage because there are some follow-up tasks that happen. Day 2, follow-up task to the producer to call the client or to call the lead. All right. And then you'll see day 3, 4, 6, and 8 calls and text to follow up. The reason why I wanted to emphasize these days 3, 4, 6, and 8. All right. So if day 1, we drop it in here, day 1, there's no task. It's just sitting there because day 1, we should have already called. That when we send the quote, we should have already called. All right. So then when we get to the quoted wait on decision stage, day 2, we got a task to call. Day 3, 4, 5, or day 3, 4, and 6, and 8 are tasks for the producer to call. Right. So we're going to call. No luck. We're going to let it sit. Because after 60 days, there's an automation or a shot clock, they want to call it, a shot clock that's going to automatically move that lead into the recycled lead stage. In our agency, we're not going to spend much time trying to get in contact with someone after 21 days. Unless they are a future sold date lead. If so, we're going to tag it future sold date. No automations are going to run. And then we're going to bind that at the appropriate time, right? But here is a statistic that I think is going to shock all of you. If a lead stays in our quoted waiting and decision stage for 14 days or longer, our percentages of providing that account go down 92%. 92%. If a quote is or a lead is sitting in the waiting decision stage for 14 days or longer, meaning we've already presented the quote to them, we have 92% of not writing that account, right? So I want our producers to be fast acting, get their request done, get their quotes back, move them along, present it, win, loss, sold, whatever that may be, right? We just got to act quick, and we're not going to spend time with someone who's not going to respect our time. Why? They reached out to us for a quote. We supplied them with a fast, quick, efficient quote. They don't want to reach back out to us. I'm done wasting my time. I'll let automation take care of the rest. Next lead, let's go. Right? That's our mindset. Don't spend too much time babysitting leads that aren't respecting the way you do business. Okay?
Mitch, I got 2 questions in here. One, are all stages managed in AgencyZoom?
What was the question?
Are all stages managed in the AZ?
Yes.
Okay. I knew that was an easy question, but it was a question. And then next, McBride says, how are you tracking that? I'm not catching exactly where he asked that question. He's welcome to jump in and say that, though.
Go ahead, McBride.
Yeah. So when you talk about how your leads over 14 days old, you're reducing your ability to sell them by 92%. How are you able to track that in AgencyZoom? That seems
so it's
to be
not. I gotta take
me.
reports. I've got to take a report out of AgencyZoom, and then be honest, I got to use ChatGPT to help me read both of the data points. But they're going to be based off of. So if I'm exporting all the leads within the last 60 days, I'll go based off of the entry date of that lead. So when they first became into that pipeline, Okay. And then once they get into that stage, I'll share with you on the chat script so you can see it. And then I'm going to also grab how long it sat in the quoted weighted and decision stage. Right. So once it enters that stage, how long did it sit there before it either exited out or before we lost one, whatever that may be.
I thought maybe you had a magic button or a magic report.
No, I wish. Yeah. I wish. But that's what you get when you do this. When that's what you do full time within your agency, you're able to actually look at those numbers and look at those analytics and data. So that's where I came. That was me being picky and wanting to look. So I used 3 different reports to get to that. And let's just say they get back to us and we present. They're like, "Yep, I want to move forward with this quote." We're going to move them into the final binding checklist stage. And that is going to be an automated task. And that's going to have a whole bunch of sub-tasks for the producer to double check, make sure they have signed applications, make sure EFT forms are signed, make sure welcome email is put together, make sure we have deck pages, make sure auto ID cards are attached. There is a long list of sub-tasks. So it's kind of almost like dummy proof for our producers to make sure that they don't miss anything when they get into that final binding checklist ready to bind that policy. And then the sold stage, we'll have automations there in the sold stage. There's automations for lost leads as well. I do have a stage that I didn't show on this pipeline specifically, but right before the new lead stage in ours, I have a recycled lead stage. And I have all of our leads that we put in the recycle. We have them circle back in 45 days prior to the renewal or prior to the renewal date or prior to the date that they reached out to us for a quote the previous year. And then on that sold stage, we've got some automations that are leaving us to leave us a review. There's some automated emails that go out, thanking them and letting them know that we also do life insurance. And then our producer is going to send them a manual welcome email themselves, letting them know the payment plans it's selected, attaching those documents, and giving them that more personalized experience. You'll notice something about me. I love producer relationship with their customers. Can't take that away from somebody, right? So you got to let them sell that policy, let them build that final rapport. Once we sell it and we onboard, that's when our VEs can really become a valuable asset for your customers after they're sold, right? But we want to make sure that that customer knows they're doing business with not just the agency, but me, right? Their agent. So moving right along here, customer service pipeline. Okay, so once they on board and are currently a customer, we've got our customer service pipelines. Okay, I would suggest starting small and then expanding on that. Start with 1 service pipeline, start with 2, commercial, personal, right? If you want to get real granular and start doing claims pipelines and then do audit pipelines and then do whatever, you can do that, but start small, start with 1, master 1, and then move on to the next one. That makes sense? Then move on to the next one. So we have 3 different ways. I like doing things in 3 different ways, which is kind of crazy. I don't know why 3 is like a number for me, but it's just easy for my ADHD mind to understand things. But for our customer service requests, we got 3 sources. It could be call in, website, form, email. Okay. Also, we've got Gaya. Gaya could potentially start service requests for us. And then we've got robotic processes automation. We use the Adapt API. We now have Adapt API grabbing documents. And then with Zapier, we've been able to create an automation to create service request based off of new Adapt API document pulls, specifically with billing or non-cancellation notices, non-renewal notices. So Adapt API is grabbing those documents with their robotic bot, right? Their robot, bringing in those notices that are not downloading potentially in your AMS 360 or some of those regional carriers that may not download. It's going and grabbing those documents, bringing them back to the system for us. We're using it specifically with policy change claims, non-renewals, cancellation notices, et cetera, to create those service requests for us in AgencyZoom. So we'll go into our stage here. This one, this specifically, I want you to think is personal lines. Try not to think commercial here, but I think it can work commercially for you guys. Our commercial lines pipeline, our commercial lines customer service is a little bit more, is a little lengthy. but there's a reason for that. And I didn't want to share that with you because I think I'm going to be changing that as well myself with more of a basic style environment that is less pipeline, more action. Okay. So stage one. So what we're going to be able to do, if I snap back to this slide, is if someone calls in, Sophia again, and/or our other virtual employee who's going to be answering the phones, we'll go ahead and create that service request inside of AgencyZoom. The VE also can actually create the same customer service request form that our clients can do online. Why? It all goes to the same place, right inside of our customer service pipeline inside of AgencyZoom. Right? So we want to make sure we're gathering that information, creating that service request inside of the system with the description of what it is or what it is needing to be done. Once it gets into this, once we submit the service request, it'll automatically send an email to the client saying your service request has been received. And then also get a text, service request been received. We're working on it. We'll get back with you if there's anything else we need.
Now, Mitch, I want to stay here. If you could for a minute, remember where you're at on the new request CSR assigned. Okay. So remember after the text, I think it's important for agents to understand the reason for this. So when Mitch and I really tried to put this down, we wanted it to be short and compact, but we wanted to pick out things that other people are doing. This is something we forget about. When a customer comes from us, from State Farm or from Geico or from a lot of the direct carriers, this is the kind of service they get. These are the type of things when they submit a claim, they get a response that lets them know. I mean, we get that on Amazon, we get that on everywhere. So the bar has been lifted for what we have. So you have somebody who is on with a direct carrier and now they decide to come to us, the independent world, and give us a try, and they don't get any of this. I think that's the important part of it's very easy to separate yourself by being different. But I also think we're kind of having to match our competition in what that person got before. So it's very, very important when you're looking at some of the like little automated things he's talking about on the first stage of, hey, we've opened this up versus, hey, I think also I see one here you might have missed. Oh, there it is, where it says, hey, that the thing's been assigned or it's been closed. It's just a little bitty way to keep the client knowing that, hey, someone's working on this. And so I just wanted to put that real quick because it's our competition that dictates sometimes the things we have to do or the things that we know we have to get ahead of. That's it.
Yep, absolutely. So when that has been assigned, the CSR assigned, the CSR will get a notification. For us, it's the same one every single time. Lordland is going to be handling all of our personal lines renewals. We're actually going to add another V to that process as well to help with that influx of renewals. But the customer is going to get 2 touch points. We've got you. We received your service request. They receive that no matter what. If it's a phone call in, they do it on the web, or they sent it via email. The second that it hits our AgencyZoom or that we create that manual or that manual service request, the customer is going to get those communication points. Once we have decided what we're going to do with that, right? Let's just say it's a general auto policy change, and we don't have the VIN number of the V or of the client. Or Jason, do you have something? Oh, my bad. Let's just say it's a general auto policy change. He traded in a vehicle and is purchasing a new one, right? He doesn't have his VIN number yet. We're going to create that service request task, and we're going to drop it into waiting for the client, right? So you'll see there's a couple different instances here. We're either going to have to wait for something from the client to finish the service request. We may have to wait from something from the carrier to finish that service request, or we may be waiting for something from that third party. That third party may be a mortgage company. That third party may be a title company, maybe a bank to have to give you their lien holder or mortgagee clause. Right? There's things that we sometimes are waiting for others to do before we can complete that request. 90% of the time, we answer that phone, we put the service request in, and guess what? We complete it right there. Does that make sense? So then we'll just skip it all the way across to the completed stage, document, leave our notes, and we're, guess what? Completed with that task. Jason?
Yes, Mitch, I have 2 questions from the audience. Here's one right here from our good friend Tammy. How do you handle service requests received via email from banks or mortgage companies?
To answer that question first, we have a service email address that all of those requests get sent to. We We have 2 people, 2 CSRs managing that email or that service at tinsuranceag.com email address. Once that request comes in, one of them, they don't know how they decide which one's going to do what, but they will go create that service request manually inside of AgencyZoom, just like anyone else would.
And a licensed person should not, in my office, be touching that whatsoever. They shouldn't even know about banks or mortgage companies, because that happens a lot. Also coming in from Michael Blake from the great state of Texas, using these service methods. What is your client retention ratio? Above 95%? No, he's so awesome. It's 105%. People come to us just because they don't want to leave. Hey, Mitch, do you have that answer?
Yeah, 86 this year. 86%. Doesn't mean that data is correct right at. But I mean, for us to be under 90 is not happy. It doesn't make me happy. But with the market that we're in, that 86 is better than 76.
Correct.
Any more questions on that? Okay, good. So then we've got the ready for review stage. Let's say it is one of those mortgage requests. When we receive that from a mortgage broker, we will create that task, okay, or create that service request. When we go create a service request in AgencyZoom, you get to select what stage it goes in, right? So if it's something that we won't let a virtual employee touch, our virtual employees know that, and they will make sure that they put that service request in the ready for review stage. Why? Because it triggers a task to the licensed account manager. So then that licensed account manager gets involved, executes that task, puts it in completed, and we're on our way. The question is, are you still communicating with the client? Yeah. Even though the mortgage company requested this, I still want to communicate the client that we completed something for them so that they see that we're always working, right? If we select the ready to review stage, once we put that start that service request, they're not going to get the automations that are in that stage. Does that make sense? We're just going to skip that stage completely, put them in there, task the account manager, execute, complete, deliver. And in the completed stage, we've got an automated email that goes to the client that says your service request has been completed. There's an automated text that says your service request, typo there, service request has been completed. And then it says, please check your email for details and updated policy documents. And then there's a task that gets assigned to our virtual employee, Lordland, to make sure that the policy change downloads into AMS 360. And they will suspense that task. They will get that task every day unless they suspense it to another day, just to make sure we're having that daily follow-up so we can check it off once it has completely downloaded. But that's our little security blanket to make sure that we truly do watch that download happen and come in before we check that off completely. And then day 2 is an email to the client to complete a service complete a service request survey. Okay, not only at new business, but we also want them to complete a survey after we've done a service request for them so they can leave us good feedback. Also, that's a great way for us to get feedback to share with our virtual employees to say, look how good you did, right? This customer was impressed with how quick this process was on their policy changes they called in. They gave you a 5-star review, right? Those are things you want to reward and pat your team employees and members on the back for us. When we get one of those reviews on a service request, we've really gone above and beyond. Any questions on this service request pipeline so far? Michael, you got one?
No. Someone might, but here I also want to say, if anybody's not paying attention to the chat, Majory's got a question. Does anyone know if there's a customer service pipeline that can be managed in Easy Links? They don't have AgencyZoom. So if anybody does, make sure that you kind of click and reach out to her to help her. And then I don't think I see anyone else. If I'm missing somebody, let me know.
That's it.
But
that was
it.
It was Marjorie.
Okay.
It was Marjorie. Marjorie, I'll talk to you more about that one. Got some thoughts for you. All right. Oh man. There we go. Renewal pipeline. This one's fun. This is actually probably where we've saved the most time this year in the last 12 months. Dramatically. right, is the renewal pipeline. I'm sure everyone's tired of renewals this year, but guess what? Renewal, in my opinion, is the most important pipeline, right? Because if we don't retain clients, we don't keep clients around, how the hell are we going to make business, right? We make money on the renewal. So let's make sure we're focusing that the renewal process is very, very tight knit. All right, for us, we've got 8 stages, the 8th stage being the completed stage, but every single one of our personal lines renewals, okay, come in 45 days into this pipeline. Will automatically flow into this pipeline 45 days to the renewal date. Okay, they're automatically going to get an email that says your renewal with X carrier is going to be is approaching, and it's pretty much telling them that we're looking into it. We're doing a policy review. We're going to go shop your insurance and do a policy review, and we'll get back to them if we need anything. Right now, there's nothing more we need from you. But if anything has changed within the last 12 months, please complete this life changes survey, right? That life changes survey gives you the ability to have the upper hand with that client on a renewal, because you're putting some accountability in their hands. So when they say, well, hey, I have an auto or a new car. Well, you're almost done with the renewal process and they're just now telling you got a new car. That should have been discussed the first couple of stages, right? So we're putting that accountability on them and say, hey, fill this out if anything's changed. Okay, and they'll complete that survey. If they do complete that survey, it'll automatically push it over to policy renewal review. All right, but a lot of times we don't even get to that point with them. An automated text saying we've sent you an email about your upcoming renewal. Please go check it out with some details. Right, it's just a notification. Check your email. I'm not sending them policy documents via the text. I'm sending them a notification for them to check the email, which is going to have the most important information, right? And then there's going to be a task to the virtual employee to begin our threshold checkup. This happens for every single client. So Lordlyn, our virtual employee, goes in and she's asking herself, she's got in that sub task, there's about 5 questions she's got to ask herself. Regards to how much did the premium go up, the percentage, right? Did we make any changes within the last 12 months? Things in that nature. Specifically regarding, have we made change? Have we switched them from a different carrier? Was the rate increase over 15% or more, right? Before we decide what next steps are going to be, right? If we get a renewal that is over 15%, and they haven't had any policy changes in the last 12 months and no claims, she's automatically going to tag them over threshold and move them to policy review. Okay? In that checkup, our VE's responsibility is to make sure they provide comparisons, the data and information that they need is inside of an activity and a pinned note in AgencyZoom so that our licensed account manager can perform a detailed policy review, meaning I'm going to look at it and decide if we need to quote it with someone else, remarket it, if we're good to go ahead and renew with the same carrier, maybe because we just switched them to Erie last year, and the year before that they were with Progressive. It's not going to do that customer any justice to shop them and move them again this year. We're just going to let them know that they're still with the best option right now, right? We're letting that account manager make that final decision on whether or not we're going to let that policy renew or if we need to take action with the producer. Cass?
Yeah, and I think here's one of the things that Davey, I know he hears this a lot because before when I was doing talking to customers and prospects, I would hear, Jason, I don't know if I have enough work for them. The problem with that is we always find that you have more work than you realize. And this is an example right here. What we forget is there's so many things that we don't do that we need to do because we don't have time to do them. But when you have VEs who you can effectively and cost effectively utilize for these strategies that they're way better at than our licensed people, they cost way less, you're actually able to do the things that you should be doing, specifically also for the customer experience situation, as I was just talking about on the customer service side. So always think about that when you're thinking to yourself, because you may be looking at this and a lot of this is automated, but someone has to manage these automations. And then when you have 100 customers a month that you're putting coming into the system because they're coming through renewal. Lordland is very busy, but we're able to give a better end result to our producers who need all this data to be able to have an effective renewal. So just wanted to throw that out there, that you actually have more work than you realize. It's just because you're not doing it now.
All the time. And when you hop on with us, Jason said that right. It's like we feel all levels of judgment that agents feel, or guilt or shame, because you're like, I know I need to do it. And you're, Mitch's greatest quote that I've heard him say about CRMs is, there's so much intense pressure to build it out, automate, build it out, automate. And we have people come in the door that have dozens and dozens of different pipelines. Mitch says every time, hey, calm down. All you need to operate off of, to get ready, is sales service renewal. Let's get sales service renewal, get that real good. And then we can get into birthdays and notes and all kinds of other things. Don't try to so much and so often. Not only is the technology overbought and not used, sometimes it's overbuilt. And especially what Jason said, if your technology is overbuilt and you got people who are trying to advise risk and sell insurance and talk to clients, and then one day a week they're like, I'm looking at my pipeline, it's all out of control. That's what we're for. That's what we're for. Let your people with licenses go get the business. We'll shove it through the sausage grinder, the meat grinder, and get it out and get it into your AMS. And I know we're at that mark here on time.
I've only got two more. Once I'm done with this, I only got one more slide. So
but I have to get off here. I want to ask one other question. Please put in the chat anything you want to hear from us in the next month or two. We have some more things, but what are some things you want to learn? Maybe the things that VEs do, maybe commercial lines, maybe more on the pipeline, service, renewals. Let us know, okay? Please put it over there so we can create something specifically for you. Sorry, Mitch.
You're good. All right, so I'm going to go back into this. Now that Cass is out of here, we actually might be able to get through it. I'm kidding. Don't tell. Don't. He's going to go back and watch this. Now it's kind of funny. So yeah, we've got right there at the bottom of the upcoming renewals. If tagged over threshold, customers automatically move to remarketing specifically, right? That VE knows whether or not that we're going to shop or not. We're based off of the checkup, the threshold checkup that we've got going on. Stage 2 would be a carrier non-renewal. So if we get in, if Lordland gets in to look at a renewal and do the comparison and do the threshold checkup and realizes that we have a non-renewal. Okay, we have a non-renewal. Lordland's going to automatically drop it into carrier non-renewal. That's going to automatically tag or automatically create a task for the licensed account manager to discuss with the producer on next steps and figure out what we got it. Why was it non-renewed? And then what are our next steps to make sure we have a renewal presented, right? If they are over threshold and we've got some funky stuff, there's been a lot of changes based off of the last 12 months, Lordland will tag it appropriately, put it into policy renewal reviewed, have that licensed CSR review it to decide next steps. Stage 4, remarketing. This is treated just like our new business needs quoted stage. You drop anything in the need marketing stage, guess what? Lordland's going to quote it. Why? Because she's our quote queen. Does that make sense? So it doesn't matter what pipeline it is. If we get put into remarket, requote, needs quoted, Lordland knows what to do. How do we do that efficiently? This is where we have really reduced our time with renewal processes. And that's the remarketing piece. Why? Because of tools like Gaya. Okay, Gaya makes that easy for us. Well, Mitch, how does that happen? She gets this task. She goes immediately into AMS 360 or the agency management system, grabs the most up-to-date deck page that generated by AMS 360. AMS 360 will give us a deck page that has the VINs, coverages, date of birth, driver's license number, all of the information that we get. Don't take the carrier deck page because the carrier deck page isn't going to have the details that the AMS 361 does, right? So we're going to take that AMS 360 deck page coverage summary, upload it into Gaya. Now our VE is going to go remarket it with Gaya, with those carriers. Okay? Because you can upload docs to Gaya. Gaya can read a deck page. Just an FYI. Gaya can read a deck page. So we're taking that deck page, uploading it, going and shopping with the other carriers that we're not currently with. If we find anything better, we find better options, We're going to supply our best 2 quotes back in the system, and then we're going to move it to licensed agent review, which guess what? It's going to task that account manager to review those quotes, just like we do in the new business, right? Review the quotes, decide what we're going to do. Producer's job or the account manager's job is to move it to the next step based off of what we're going to do, right? If we quote it and we're going to present it and we presented it, we go to quoted, weighted on decision, and we're waiting for them to decide those options. If it goes with keep to carrier, that means we're going to keep them with the same insurance carrier as they were last year. That means we could take somebody from here all the way to here, right? Lordland could automatically take somebody and move them from upcoming renewals to keep with carrier. We don't want to do that immediately, though, right? Because we want to make sure that our clients know that we are working for them, So at least 2 weeks before, we need to drop them in this stage if we're going to keep them with the current carrier. So we'll tag it, keep with carrier, and at the 15 days out from renewal, they're going to get an email saying, hey, today, we decided that sticking with Erie is your best option at this point. We recommend staying. And then after 2 days of it being in this stage, it automatically, with the shot clock, pushes it over to the completed stage. Why? We've let them know staying with current carrier is the best option. They're going to renew it as is. We're good to go. Move it over there. And there's going to be an automated sequence that happens. Thank you for your continued trust. And then the task is virtual employees to ensure the policy downloads in AMS 360. Just like we're doing in the new business and service line. Once it's completed, having somebody, specifically a great task for a VE, to go make sure that those downloads take place under that client's account in the management system. And then this quoted waiting on decision stage for the account executive. If we have something in the quoted waiting on decision stage, that means I want my producer to be reaching out day 2 and day 5 of it being in that stage so that we can make sure that we are closing that deal, getting that completed, getting that bound, right? So our account executive, our producer, does not get involved in the renewal process unless someone brings him into the process or they get a task to make sure that that quote gets sold and gets through. Make sense there? That's where we're at. Any questions on that? Yes, to answer your question, Michael, I'm hoping actually at the end of this year we can. We just had some carrier problems at the beginning of last year too, which kind of didn't help, but we're on the up and up. It's been better. The retention's been better this last 2 months. The last 2 months have been actually in the mid 90s, so that's a good sign. Our step 5 is good. Now that we've got our processes built out, now that we've got our pipelines, we've got our strategy. It says this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. If you notice something about mine, you didn't notice there wouldn't be many pipelines or stages where there are people just be sitting in there for days. Get them in there, try to sell them, get it out, right? Get it in, get it sold, or get it in, get it quoted, get it out. Service, get that service request in, execute it, get it out the door. Renewals, review, analyze, audit, push them through that process, shop if we need to, renew as is, completed, right? Yeah, there's some cross-sell components that can come into play. If we renew a policy, Lordland will also tag it monoline if she notices that there's only a home or just an auto product, so that when it gets into that policy renewal stage or policy review stage, producer, the account manager has some information now to try to cross-sell to get the auto opportunity. Does it make sense? So using tags is key inside of AgencyZoom. Tagging has been tremendous for us in our agency. But you ask me, here's some pretty cool statistics. Inside of our pipelines at the Insurance Alliance, in our new business pipelines, personal, commercial, life, 66% of those pipelines are automated. That means 44% or 34% is done by a licensed agent or it's a manual task. Customer service, 72% of that's automated, right? Why? Because it's just simple. They call in, we create the request, we execute the request, we're done. There's not much more to that. The only manual task that needs done there is the agent to actually make that physical change. Make sense? Renewal pipeline, 70% of that one is completely automated. The other 30 done manually and or is a manual task that's assigned. That makes sense. How do we leverage this? Outsource those unlicensed tasks, right? Hire your own internal CTO. Why? We've got two now. I've got two of them, right? And I say I've got two of them that work for us at Virtual Intelligence. One's that CTO at Michael Cruz's agency. The other one's with ours at the Insurance Alliance, right? They're helping. Juan is on this call. Juan helps me daily with making sure things are up to date, making sure that we are keeping automations on. If our team has a problem with an automation, they go to Juan. Why? Because I've spent time to train him and educate him on the importance of insurance, technology, and automations, and what makes sense to that customer journey, not just saying, hey, we've got stages to have stages, and we're just sending messages to send messages. We don't send stupid shit for a reason, because I don't like receiving stupid shit, right? I don't like receiving it. I'm going to let you know, and I'm going to communicate with you when we're done with something, when we have a quote with you, when we've received something from you, just like we would anywhere else, right? If we communicate with the client respectfully and how we should, we're doing our job the right way. All right. And then quote master, right? Hire a V to be your quote master. Hire them to be your service request manager. Sophia is slowly working her way into our agency client success management role, right? Sooner or later, she's going to be telling me what she wants inside of the pipelines. Why? Because she's the one that's in it daily. Create your pipelines and systems around your processes and how your agency works. Don't create something and change your agency. Change your agency, then create something, is what I challenge you all to think about first. And then what I would say the next most important thing to do is supercharge technology. Implement supercharged technology in your agency. I show WonderWrite in here for an example. I got something really, really cool I've been working with WonderWrite on that will eventually here very soon be able to present to you guys. Godwin, I think you guys are on the same thing now too. Is that correct, Haley? You guys, your guys is up and running to where we can utilize WonderWrite just like we utilize RiskAdvisor. One single place of data intake to supply our virtual employee to create Accord applications with one click of an automated button, right? And then it's synced in with our management system and CRM. So I'm trying to build processes that work within the systems that we have based off of how we do things manually now, right? If you have a manual process with things, doesn't mean it's not broken, just means you may need some technology to maximize it, make it more efficient, make it quicker, right? So with us, by having Gaya, Gaya, and RiskAdvisor, we are able to speed up and be more efficient with our processes, our service requests, our new business quoting. I think you've heard Jason say it. I know we advertise it out that we can do 7 to 10 quotes in less than 10 minutes. I put my hand on the table here and let you know that we do quotes, 7 to 10 quotes in less than 15 minutes. No doubt about it. That means we're giving it back to the client within 30 minutes. We're selling it. We're the first one back to them with a really, really good quote. Better yet, with our referral partners, we're supplying them with fast, efficient processes to give them policies that they need and quotes they need to present that monthly mortgage payment to their clients. So those specific pieces of technology this year have helped speed up our agency by 150%. That is true number. From quotes taking 2 hours to 3 hours to now quotes taking less than 30 minutes, from intake to quote to present or in the inbox of a customer, that's a winning strategy. That's where we're at. That's where we're going. I don't want it to be 30 minutes. I want it to be 5 minutes. I want someone to get a real-time quote on their own. We're not Canada, right? But I think we are on that path of having systems to be able to provide that on that frontward-facing standpoint for our clients. Last slide here, some tips to take with you. Tag your customers. Make sure you're using tags that work for your agency, right? Tag based off of service groups. Tag based off of the size of the account, right? I've been working with the Superior Insurance Group up in Michigan, and we have 3 different tags. There's Stacy's on here. Is she on here?
Yep. She's on here.
We have 3 different commercial lines tags: new, large, medium, and small commercial. They have account managers that are in charge of each one of those segments of business. So by tagging it, we're able to create automated tasks for that account manager based on the tag, right? Tagging is extremely important. What works for you guys? Tag based off of your groups, tag based off of the policy type. Monoline is a great tag to use versus package. Diamond, silver, bronze client, right? I know they don't like using the term tier your clients, but tiering your clients, right? Bigger accounts, smaller accounts, medium-sized accounts, it doesn't matter. Trucking accounts, those are ways to be able to utilize inside of your management system or CRM to be able to quick report and pull things that you need to get data and provide helpful resources. Last thing, create tasks and activities for everything. Track them, right? I told SIG earlier today, guys, make sure that if we have a task that's coming to you as a CSR, and that task is to follow up on a client, and you call to follow up with that client, they don't answer, create a note, tried calling client, they didn't answer, change the due date of that task till tomorrow and try again. It's amazing what we can do if we just slow down. We don't need 9,000 different notes. Reuse that same note. Push that task back. But every time you call or try to make contact and you're unsuccessful, you need to create a note. Create those activities. And the biggest thing that's been valuable for us is setting your own task for yourself. Whether you're a producer, whether you're a CSR, whether you're the account manager, VE, use the task ability inside of AZ, or inside of your CRM to make you more organized with what you need to do, right? So if it's, I called this client, but I need to follow up with him specifically about something, create that task and make that task specific. Assign it to yourself so you get reminded. Get rid of the handwritten notes, create task, tag yourself, task yourself. Try to make this transition and highly encourage your agencies there to feed this off into your employees as well. My time, I was going to say this now, my time is very, very valuable, but I will tell you, we have put some really cool things in play over the last couple of weeks that's going to allow us to do more and help more of you. There's only so much of me to go around, and I guess what makes me me is that inside the agency experience, right? Having the ability to put on the sales thinking cap, put on the agency management thinking cap, put myself in the shoes of the clients that I have sold to, right? And then building our system around that has been huge. And we've now been training virtual employees on how these systems work so that they can start becoming the subject matter experts inside your agencies. So you don't have to learn about it. Find someone who can teach you all about it. And that's what we are determined and goal-driven to get done to supply to this market, is to provide you guys employees that can be these experts inside of your agency. And I can assure you and promise you the team I'm building for that and have been building for that is coming along very, very nicely. And it's going to be a massive help for me, but also to help put more Mitch like-minded, technology-focused individuals to help you all as well. So, Davey, floor is yours.
Yeah, man, I'll keep it short. I know we're over time. We're currently investing all of our net margin in cloning technology to clone Mitch as soon as possible. It's been a very expensive endeavor. We've sent lab tests all over the world. If we get the cloning technology, I promise the customers of Virtual Intelligence will get first dibs at the IPO. So love you all. Thank you very much. This is a week out before Thanksgiving. I am thankful for all of you, not only as you are customers of VI, but friends and great people. And so have a great week.
I got one more thing, Davey. Hold on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On a scale, if you guys could, though, I want to know this. On a scale from 1 to 10 in the chat, put where you think that your agency currently stands with how you feel like your processes, pipelines, automations, man, what we just discussed, where you feel like you are in that advancement. And I'm sorry, when you get me on a mic, this is what happens. I just talk, and I'm like that doctor who runs 2 hours late because I love spending time with people. So that's what you get.
Love you all. Have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving. Sincerely,
Thanks,
Tommy Gobbles.